I get it. My channel is definitely usually geared towards much different content than this for today, but I still feel like it'll probably be relevant to a lot of you, given that a lot of you out there are probably content creators too. A lot of you are out there taking photos, videos of your outdoor adventures, because that's generally what this channel is about, is outdoor lifestyle, adventuring, camping, overlanding, building adventure vehicles. However, a lot of you out there are probably videographers or photographers as well, and you're wanting to document your adventures. So I think we're going to talk about computers today in relation to editing your 4K content. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you'll probably notice that in the recent weeks there's been a significant upgrade in production quality on my channel, and that's thanks in part to me upgrading to a Panasonic S1. The quality coming off of this camera has been absolutely incredible. You know, good 4K 60p footage, and more importantly 4K 60 and a high bit rate. So that means that all the footage coming off the sensor is just filled with detail, and there's even a lot of flexibility for grading. There's also some high frame rate options up to 180p in 1080. So really enjoyed using this camera. However, it quickly presented a problem for me when it came to editing my footage on my old computer. So big shout out to my brother. My brother's actually an IT professional, and he helped me pick out some components to do my own PC build. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is building a inexpensive PC for less than $1,000 that should be able to handle editing 4K. Not just editing 4K, but high bitrate 4K, the kind of 4K you really want. Because if it's a low bit 4K, you might as well just have 1080. My old PC was pretty old. It still had a very early generation i7 with vPro, so it was no slouch. However, it didn't really keep up with 4K footage from the S1. The first video I edited with it, it took me significantly more time than it should have. So I quickly realized it was time for an upgrade. So what I'm going to be doing with you today is going through the list of components. I have the box just full of the components that got shipped to me. They all came from Amazon. A few, well, I should say almost all of them came from Amazon. Some of the components actually came from Micro Center, and some of them were actually hand-me-downs from my brother. So what I'm going to try to show you today is that you can build yourself an inexpensive PC with the help of Amazon, and also using their open box items. That is one of the biggest things I can recommend to you, is when you're shopping on Amazon for PC components, find open box items, because there's thousands of options on Amazon where items have been returned to them and the condition of these items is perfect. The only thing that happened to them was the box was opened and maybe somebody planned on using it and then sent it back. And you can end up getting a great deal on those. Most of the things I bought from Amazon came in that condition, and I haven't had any problems with them, and I saved a lot of money. So anyway, let me go grab the box. Alright, I guess we'll start with the case. The case I got was a Coolmaster Masterbox Q300L. Quite simply, it's one of the least expensive cases you can buy on Amazon. It had plenty of flexibility, plenty of space for everything I needed, and it looks good. Can't complain. Alright, next is going to be the processor I got, which is the 10th Gen Core i7. This one specifically is the 10700K. This one's a real bargain because it's 8 cores and 16 threads. Basically, it has the capability that the previous generation i9s have, at a much lower price. Really pleased with it. This is one of the best processors you can buy for the money right now. This actually came from Micro Center, I should mention, and I don't have a Micro Center here in Salt Lake, and you can only buy these in store, so shout out to my brother for going to the one in Atlanta and shipping it to me. Now in terms of storage, we ended up going with a WD solid state drive. This is specifically an NVMe drive. So this is the latest and greatest in the world of storage. This drive is really fast, and I got it open box on Amazon for a great price. Now onto the power supply. I ended up going with this 650 watt power supply. This one is 80 plus bronze, and it is modular. Now if you're out there watching, you're probably thinking 650 watts is probably a little bit overkill, but the reason I went with this one is because it was an open box item, and it was actually cheaper than a comparable 550 watt unit, and it fit the bill and got a great price on it. Alright, and for the motherboard I went with a Gigabyte Z490M. You'll notice that this one is also an open box Amazon warehouse deal, and it's worked great. Now for memory I went with 32 gigabytes from T-Force. This is of course DDR4, 3600 gigahertz, and this is of course from Micro Center. Now for the graphics card, I ended up going with a graphics card that was handed down to me by my brother from a previous PC build that he had. I can't really tell you much about it. It's, you know, probably 5 years old, but I mention all of that to say that if you're doing photo and video editing, at least with Adobe products, there's really not a whole lot of demand to have an amazing graphics card, you know, compared to whether or not you were doing like gaming with it. If you're wanting the computer to be dual purpose for editing, and also if you want to play games with it, you're probably best to spend a little bit more on your graphics card. But I mention all that to say, if your needs are what mine are, to edit 4K video, even an old graphics card from 5 years ago, it has no trouble running any of the programs. Even when you slap a grade over top of your footage and maybe some graphics, anything along those lines, it really holds up pretty well. And you can save a lot of money there, because graphics cards, at least high-end ones, are not cheap. And then finally, I think my favorite thing that I got for this PC build is actually going to be the CPU cooler. I ended up going with the Arctic Freezer 34. This one actually is currently considered one of the best budget CPU coolers that you can buy at the moment. This one I think is around 50 bucks. It is an air cooler, of course, but it has 2 fans, and I found that it's been plenty powerful enough to cool off the i7 chip. Now with this PC build, I am able to edit all my 4K footage in its highest resolution in playback mode on Adobe Premiere with basically no delay. It edits in real time, it plays back in real time. Compared to the really glitchy experience I had with my old PC, this one has been a huge step up. I have stitched together huge raw panoramas together in Lightroom, and it handles that well. So really and truly, I've been really pleased with this PC build, and with a few of the parts that I was given, and all the Amazon warehouse deals I managed to get, I built the whole thing for less than $700 with software. Really and truly, for this kind of performance, there's really not anything better for the money. So I threw this video together real quick just to show you guys what I'm doing as an editing solution for my 4K video, in hopes that maybe it would give you some ideas. Don't be scared of building your own PC. It turned out to be really easy. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that can show you how to do it, and collecting the parts for it is really easy. Just go to PCPartPicker.com or whatever it is, and not sponsored by them. But anyway, it's just a really helpful tool to help you kind of narrow down what you'll need for your build, and it'll, it can show you comparisons to other products, and ultimately it can show you about what your end cost will be, but it doesn't take into account any open box deals you might get on Amazon. So once again, I recommend looking into those, because once again, you'll save a ton of money. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.